tells to Arjuna that you cannot see me with these golayas. Golayas means the physical eyes of yours. Divyam dadami te chakshuhu pashyame yogam aishwaram. I give you the divine eye. Behold my supreme yoga. We said the three eyes through which we perceive. Firstly, we said the physical eyes are the gross physical perception. The golayas are the physical eyes. Then we have the mental and the intellectual eye, where we are able to relate to the world through emotions. You're able to capture emotions. You're able to relate others through emotions. Thirdly, or in the second, is you also can relate through intellectual perspective. So you're able to see intellectually. But the real perception which the Lord here is mentioning is the spiritual eye, which is the divine eye. The divine eye is beyond the mental and intellectual, is beyond the emotional and intellectual, is the spiritual eye. So the emotional and intellectual, the mind and intellect, as we understand, it takes us to the peripheral of the material world or the terrestrial world, takes you to the boundary of the world. But beyond the boundary, you want to experience the self, you need to go beyond it. You need the transcendental eye. So the mind and intellect takes you to the zenith of worldly experience. Like, for example, Carnatic music takes you to the zenith of emotional elevation, because it is, if you ask me, the classical music, the mother of all music is the Carnatic music. So the Carnatic music, the classical music, takes you to the zenith of emotional experience. The classical literature takes you to the zenith of intellectual experience. So whether be it classical music or be it classical literature, it takes you to the, it is still in the worldly realm. It takes you to the zenith of that worldly experience. But if you want to fathom, if you want to experience the self, you'll have to go beyond the terrestrial limitations which the mind and intellect can take you. That is symbolized by when you go to a temple. As we have asked ourselves this question, when we go to the temple, what is it that the last thing we do? In fact, what is it that takes us to the temple? Sanjay, what takes you to the temple? Don't tell me my driver. Huh?
My feet.
Your feet. What do you wear on your feet? The footwear.
Footwear. And then they're removed.
What do the footwear symbolize? The footwear take you from where you are in the world to the periphery of the spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you use the footwear to roam in the world. But once in a while, you decide to go to the temple. So when you go, so the chapel or the footwear take you to the threshold of the temple. But before you enter the temple, what do?
You remove the footwear.
You leave the footwear outside and then enter the temple. Similarly, the mind and intellect will take you to the periphery of the terrestrial world. But you want to fathom the transcendental, you'll have to go beyond the mental and intellectual eye. You need the spiritual eye. It's very symbolic. It's symbolic because it's actual factual reality that happens. And throughout the Gita, the Lord says, in fact, No guru can give you the spiritual eye. I can make you feel in a particular way. I can help you to think along with me in a particular way. But I can't help you see what I see spiritually. So the divine eye or the spiritual eye is something that cannot be given. Therefore, throughout the Gita, the famous words, Sanjay, you know that, isn't it? The famous words, the Lord say, Yah pashyati sa pashyati. He who has the eyes to see will see what I am saying. I can't lend this vision to you. And having said that, here, the Lord saying, I am going to give you a divine eye. So it's sort of contradictory, but all what we have said is the 11th chapter is mostly it is not a visualization, it's actually a perception. Visualization means you should see it. Everybody should see it, but if it is perceived, it is individualistic. It is experienced only by Arjuna, not everybody else. So if it's a perception, it can't be a visualization. Like you all see me because I am sitting here in front of you. You can't say you can't perceive me. It's I'm reality here, isn't it? So Sanjay, now Sanjay speaks from the 9th verse onwards. Lord, not Lord, but Lord is sitting in UK. Lord Sanjay is sitting in UK, but Sanjay speaks here. Have you got the title yet, Sanjay? Lordship? Not yet. We pray you get it soon. 9th verse, please. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva tato rajan mahayogeshwaro harihi darshayamasa parthaya paramam rupamaishwaram. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva tato rajan mahayogeshwaro harihi darshayamasa parthaya paramam rupamaishwaram. Sanjaya uvacha, Sanjaya said, O Rajan, O king, having spoken thus, the supreme lord of yoga, Hari, showed his supreme divine form to Partha. Mahayogeshwaraha, the great lord of yoga. Maha is great, yoga means yoga, Ishvara is the Lord, the great lord of yoga. It's a very unique terminology, not often used. So having spoken thus, Sanjaya is referring to the Lord having spoken. He has shown his form. Now this is the only time in the entire Bhagavad Gita Sanjaya speaks after starting the Gita in the very beginning. This is the only time in the entire 18 chapters he speaks in between. And then in the conclusion. So in between the beginning of the Gita he speaks. In between is only these few verses he speaks, and again conclusion. Because as you know, the Bhagavad Gita is a narration by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra we are hearing. But then why is it that only in these few verses Sanjaya intercepts? Even though obviously there are two people that are seeing the cosmic form. One is Sanjaya, who got the eye from Vyasa, and Arjuna, who has got from Lord Krishna. It's all a story. But this is the fact of the story. So these two people are seeing, and why is Sanjaya intercepting here? It's a very subtle visualization. See, Arjuna was given this ability to see, but it took a while for Arjuna to conceive what the Lord showed to him. So that time which Arjuna took to adjust to see the cosmic form, Sanjaya speaks. And that is dramatized by Sanjaya speaking a few verses, then Arjuna takes over. Outstanding. It's just that gap, a few verses. Imagine you are in darkness, you're complete darkness. Imagine if you're sleeping and suddenly somebody puts on the light in your bedroom. And it takes you for a few seconds. You open your eyes and quickly close because you're not able to experience that splash of light from total darkness to the brilliance. It takes a few seconds for your eyes to adjust to that light. And that phase of adjustment is dramatized by Sanjaya speaking these few verses. What timing, it is outstanding if you are able to relate to it. And this is the only time in the Gita Sanjaya speaks, not that he has spoken every chapter. Only time he speaks. Other than that, there's nothing much here, but very beautifully dramatized, very beautifully captured. He showed his supreme divine form to Partha. Let's see. A few verses Sanjay will describe what Arjuna is seeing, because that fellow is not yet digested what is being shown. 10. Aneka vaktra nayanam, anekadbhuta darshanam, aneka devyabharanam, devyanekodhyatayudham, aneka vaktra nayanam, anekadbhuta darshanam, aneka devyabharanam, devyanekodhyatayudham. With many mouths and eyes, aneka vaktra nayanam. Many mouths and eyes, anekadbhuta darshanam, with many marvelous visions, aneka divyabharanam, with many divine ornaments, divyanekodhyatayudham, with many uplifted divine weapons. So Sanjaya is describing what is seen. See, this is not one of the chapters where you will get an intellectual takeaway. The intellectual takeaway is little, but there is a devotional appeal. But this verse can be looked at it from a devotional point of view, also from an intellectual point of view. Because if you ask me, this chapter is opposed to reason. In most lectures, we don't take the 11th chapter, because the philosophical takeaway which an audience like you all would look for is not there. However, I said, let's not skip it. We'll do justice to that. We'll go through it. So you have to be a little patient. But however, a little intellection can be done here when he says, with many mouths and eyes. Mouth or speech is an organ of action. Mouth or speech is organ of action. Like I'm talking to you, I am acting, I'm performing action. Eyes is organs of perception. One is karmendriya, another is jnanendriya. So the karmendriya and the jnanendriya is the experiencer, is the subject that is you, is the individual, because the organs of perception and the organs of action are housed in the individual, right? Correct? When he says Aneka Vaktranayanam, mouths and eyes, mouth refers to organs of action, eyes refers to organs of perception, which refers to the individual. Anekadbhuta darshanam, marvelous visions. So various sights. Sights refers to, because he has put it, I have to address him that way. Dr. Venkatram. Is it intentionally or is it enough or automatic? Always is there like that?
Yeah, I have put it like that.
You put it like that?
Yeah.
So we should address you as doctor, is it?
No, it's up to you. I mean, you can always address me as Venkat.
Then we'll have to address, though.
No problem.
So I asked you whether you put it or by mistake.
No, not by mistake. Why will I put something like that by mistake?
No. I know. Yes, Dr. Chap, boliye. What do many... Ji, could you speak a little louder? I don't know whether it's audible online. For us in the hall, it's little low.
Oh, is it? Okay, let me just.
Is it okay now?
Oh, much better. Much better. Thank you. Yes. Now the question is, what do the sights, various visions symbolize?
You said mouth is action and eyes are perception.
Yes. Which is?
Perception. Perception of whatever we see.
Yeah, but what do the action and perception symbolize? We said that is the experiencer.
Okay.
Who is it that is experiencing you, isn't it?
Yes.
You are perceiving, you are acting. So the mouths and eyes symbolize the individual, right?
Okay.
Now the question is, sight symbolize?
The world outside.
The sights are in the world outside, which is the object which is being experienced.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Now, as we know, the definition of an experience is when the subject comes in contact with the object. Any worldly experience
is when the subject comes in contact with the object.
So there are two separate entities, right? You, the subject, and the object are two separate entities, right?
Yes. Yes, Guruji.
When the subject and object are seen in one form, what does it mean?
Subject and object are seen in one form.
Isn't it? Hey, Gamma, there's a shortcut, no? You told me. So the subject and object are in one. He's. No, there was something else. No, there was some shortcut. You explore that right from down if you do it. Yes, doctor.
Yes, Guruji.
The question is, the subject and object are seen in one form. What is the implication?
Don't know.
Are? Subject is the experiencer. The object is that which is experienced. So this is S, this is O. So S plus O equals experience. Now what we are saying, subject and object are two separate entities, right?
Yes, Guruji.
But in the verse, subject and object are perceived as one. He's seeing in one form, no? He's seeing all the mouths and eyes in one form. What does it mean? This is where you have to strain your intellect. Otherwise, a devotional person will see, oh, so many mouths and eyes in one form, and there he ends it. But when you start rationalizing, you get to see something beyond it. Any idea, doctor?
No, Guruji.
All right. Ramji? The question is, when the subject and object merge to become one, what is it conveying?
Possibly it conveys that the object is there everywhere, in the sense that it is all pervading. So the one who is seeing and the one who is being seen, both are the same.
Yeah, what does it mean?
That means the Almighty is there in front of Arjuna, and Almighty is there in Arjuna also, and Almighty is there in Sanjay also. That means everything is one.
No, please, you answer in the language which we're using. You are using here. What is the language we're using? We're saying subject and object becomes one. What does it mean?
That means the person who is seeing and the person who is being seen, both are same.
Yeah. So you are saying the very obvious, but philosophically, what does it mean? You must tell, no?
Philosophically, that's what I was saying, that if we believe that the Brahman is all pervading, then...
Sir, now let me ask you by saying, how do you describe self-realization?
Self-realization is an experience of merging with the Brahman.
You have failed, utterly failed.
Oh. Self-realization is the realization of the Atman. Even more failed.
Sir, they say self-realization, please mark my words, is self-realization is not an experience.
You become that.
Is not an experience. What is a self-realization?
You become that person. You become the...
You become the self. So it's a becoming. Now, to convey that self-realization is a becoming, the subject and object are seen one. They become one. Because if you noted, we said for any experience, you need subject and object.
Correct.
You need the two. But when both become one,
there is no experience.
It is not an experience. And just to say that self-realization is not an experience, he says, mouths and eyes, I see in one form. 0, sir. Not 2. Non-dual.
But sir, here Sanjaya is describing what he is seeing. Okay. So he is saying that the Vishwarupa is describing the Vishwarupa. where he says the
Like,
Vishwa.
self-realization, isn't it? Absolute self he's describing.
Correct. You
He's
can-
describing the Atman, he's describing the self.
Correct.
So what is self? It is not an experience.
But who has become that now? Arjuna has become or Sanjaya has become?
No, he's describing what that self is.
Correct.
These men had the eye to see it.
Correct.
That's all. So it is the perception of Sanjaya. And you know, what does the word Sanjaya mean? You don't answer. Sanjaya will answer that. Otherwise, you'll have to officially change your name from today. You also can add doctor or whatever you want before or after.
No, sir. Doctor, I can add only after I do PhD.
No, not you, sir. I'm saying Sanjay to add.
Sanjay, yeah.
Maybe you add. Sanjay. What does the word Sanjay mean?
I don't know.
No. As Amitabh Bachchan gives, you have an option of calling a friend. You can call your father and ask, Father, tell me, why did you name me Sanjay? You can ask your father. Guruji is online, hotline. Isn't it?
Oh, dear.
That's the terms they use in the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sanjay. You know what Sanjay means? San means the senses. Jay means one who has conquered his senses. So Sanjaya means one who has got a victory over his senses. So what it means is a man of self-control or man of self-control is, or one has to be one who has self-controlled his senses as a prerequisite to pursue the self. If you have no senses under control, you're unfit to be a spiritual aspirant. Sanjaya is one who is a master of his mind, who is a master of his senses. Therefore, he was worthy to have the glimpse. He had the divine eye. To see the divine eye. That's what Sanjaya means.
Thank you. I knew what J meant, but I never knew what the sun element meant.
Yeah. It's a beautiful name. Now you can be proud of it.
Now I'll be proud of it. Yeah.
Now you have to work for it to be truly deserving.
Absolutely. That's my doctor.
It's not my words. Shivaji is saying here, now you must work for it.
Yeah, that's my title.
That
will be my new title. Instead
yes.
of doctor.
So Ramji, okay?
Yes, sir. I was only having this thing in my mind that Sanjay is describing what he's seeing. But what you say is right, that he is describing self. And so he got benefited. In a way, both Arjuna and Sanjay got benefited because of the God, their God and here, how did Sanjay get his yoga drishti? He got it from
from Vyasa himself.
From Vyasa himself. So I think both of them were allowed to see self, right? Because of this Divya Drishti. Otherwise, so that means
Sanjay was a qualified, therefore he got the eye from Vyasa. As we learnt in this very chapter, Arjuna was given the eye because the Lord felt this. Arjuna was very devoted and very genuinely requesting. He was very sincere and devoted. That's the reason he says, I'm giving you the divine eye. So whatever, temporarily both had a glimpse of what that self is. So
yeah,
when we listen to this verse, this is a description of the self.
Yeah, right. So all these three verses he is doing are all description of self.
All the description of self only.
Okay.
So the message we gather here is, when the mouths and eyes are in one form and the sights are in one form, means subject and object are in one form, symbolizes the merger of one where the duality disappears. For self-realization is non-dual, is ekam, only one. So there is no subject and object. So the spiritual growth happens from where? Where you see a plurality, some plurality you see duality, from duality you see non-dual. This is the spiritual progression. Now we experience a plurality, a world of plurality of things and beings, nama, rupa. And then comes duality, where you and Brahman. And then comes one. Multiple to 2 to 1. Right. So, and then he says, Aneka Divya Bharanam, with many divine ornaments, suggesting you wear ornament for an occasion of celebration, festivity, a peaceful occasion. And then he says, uplifted divine arms, weapons. You wear weapons on war. So when he says peace and war, what does peace and war symbolize? Harish.
Peace and war, can it be metaphorized as heaven and hell in that metaphor?
You may be reading the word literally, but what do they symbolize? Not literally. Philosophically, what does it symbolize?
Can we say peace?
State Rajima, Rajima is in a state of war or peace. Hello.
Guruji, can you hear me?
Yes, Harish, sorry.
Can we say in that case, philosophy, peace symbolizes our calmness and equanimity in ourselves versus war with agitation or frustration per se?
See, again, you may be giving a literal interpretation. In fact, Sudhakarji is right. In the commentary he gave, in the comments there, the peace and war symbolizes the pairs of opposites of the world. Dvandva. Dvandva means opposites. All right. Now,
yes,
when you experience the world, you only experience either of them at a time, isn't it?
yes.
You don't experience heat and cold at the same time. You don't experience joy and sorrow at the same time. You don't experience profit and loss at the same time. You either experience profit or loss. You either experience joy or sorrow. You either at war or at peace. Why? Because that is the world. World is opposites. You either experience this or that. Now, when in one form you are seeing peace and war, what does it mean? What does it mean that peace and war, ornaments and jewelry representing opposites are seen in one form? What does it mean? When the two have merged to become the one, means one has transcended the pairs of opposites, which means you have become the infinite self. Again, it is a description of the same self, the reality. Ramji, again describing the self in a very indirect way. How an intellectual person will try to interpret these things. Otherwise, you'll take it literally. Like when you go to a temple on an occasion, a special occasion, you are awed by when the Lord is decked with all the ornaments. You are amazed when the Lord is dazzling. when the ornaments are adorned, you bow down. It's you approach it with devotion and you are awed by it. But you don't say, the Lord seeing the Lord is holding to some weapon and also the Lord wearing ornaments. You don't say that the Lord has transcended the pairs of opposites. We don't think that way, because as a bhakta, as a devotee in a temple, you take a devotional angle. When you're sitting in a classroom like this, you decode it. And then you see the deeper philosophical meaning. So peace and war symbolizes the opposites. And when the pairs of opposites are in one form, it must be the transcendental. It is not the terrestrial. The self is the transcendental. The world is opposites. When you see Lord Ganesha, what do you see? Gama, put the camera to our Ganesha. I hope they all can see. Is it visible? What do you see? Asha Junior, what do you see?
Yeah, what do I see? I see a idol.
What sort of question is that? No,
Yeah.
see, this is symbolized by Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha symbolizes that he has transcended the pairs of opposites. That's why I'm showing the
Yes.
the statue or the idol, so that you are able to connect. I don't know whether it's visible or not clearly, but what aspect in Lord Ganesha conveys this, that he has transcended the pairs of opposites?
It's the mixture in his form,
Mixture in the form.
the elephant head and the human mixture.
Not really. Not really. Good try. UK, what symbolizes in the Lord's form? Okay, enough. She's permanently put the camera to Ganesha.
Is it the tusk, Guruji? Single tusk?
Enama?
Is it the single tusk?
It is the tusk. What is it in the tusk, please?
It's a weapon. I mean, it is.
No, when you see Lord Ganesha's tusk, what do you see?
It is a broken tusk.
Why is it broken?
Because it was used to kill some Rakshasa or some.
Again, the story part. But
yeah.
Why is one? How many tusks are broken? One or two?
Only one, Guruji.
What does it mean?
It is not perfect. It is. I mean,
your answer is not perfect. A perfect Ganesha is one tusk must be broken.
Yes, that is true.
Perfect Ganesha. Sir,
okay. So there is a perfection in the idol and there is an imperfection also together.
1 minute. Shanti, Shanti. When the two tusks are there, when there is a pair, what does it mean?
Dvandvas.
Dvandva. Correct. When only one tusk, one is broken, only one is there, what does it mean?
And so it is, both are merged into one. One has gone, the Dvandvas have gone, and a single.
Transcended the opposites.
Yeah.
So Lord Ganesha is conveying that he has transcended the pairs of opposites by having one tusk. Because otherwise, an elephant is only obvious elephant has two tusks.
Yeah.
But why has only one tusk? Whatever the story symbolically is, but it is concluded that he has one tusk. Why? To convey that is transcended.
Yeah.
If you decode every aspect of Lord Ganesha is highly symbolic. Like why Ashama said, why is it that a disproportionate elephant head is on human form? It is disproportionate. Why? He had astounding wisdom.
Yeah.
Elephant head means a giant intellect. His wisdom was unfathomable. How can a man had so much wisdom? Just to convey that, they put such a large head. My God, what a clarity, what wisdom. He had large ears, means he was a man very receptive. A man with large ears means he always lent his ears to others' views and opinions. Most of us are shut to others. I know what I'm saying. I know. You know, that's kind of a closed. We have us is rat ears. Kuti ears. But he's a Ganesha, large ears, symbolizes. In that sense, if you start taking every aspect of comparison of Lord Ganesha, it's highly philosophic. Unaffected. Many aspects not affected by the laddu at his feet. Correct? Papa. Something, we dug something very deep from the mantra. Not straightforward, but indirect. So, again, a quick recap. Many mouths and eyes symbolizes the experiencer, the subject. Marvelous visions symbolizes the world, the many visions, the objects. Subject and object come together to bring about an experience. But when both merge into one, means you have transcended the objective experience, you have become the subjective experience, which means you become the self. You become from the plural to non-dual to dual to non, right? And many ornaments and weapons, ornaments and weapons symbolize the opposite, the pairs of opposites. So seeing both in one form means he is not the terrestrial, he has reached the transcendental. Right, 11th verse. Divyamalyan bharadharam divyagandhanulepanam sarvachar sharyamayam devam anantam vishwato mukham divyamalyam bharadharam divyagandhanulepanam sarvascharyamayam devam anantam vishwato mukham. Wearing divine garlands and apparel, anointed with divine scents and unguents, full of all wonders, resplendent, endless, with face on all sides. Divine garlands and apparel, anointed with divine scents and unguents. Obviously, he is catering to the devotional class of people. The devotional class of people will be mesmerized seeing all this. Oh my God, the Lord is wearing such a beautiful garland. Look at that beauty. Look at the aura and the beautiful scent that the flowers emanate. Glittering diamonds and the apparel and the scents. That is enough. Adiporum for a bhakta. Like the moment you light an incense stick, instantly it arouses a certain divine feeling. Instantly it arouses a certain association of thought. So all these, and a bhakta goes through great detail to make sure the Lord is well decked up, well taken care of, decorated, with great bhakti. So that symbolizes catering to a devotional class of people. And then he also satisfies the intellectual in this verse. Anantam. Vasantama, what does Anantam mean? Anantam means
Endless. Many.
yeah. What is he referring to? Or what is he seeing? Sanjay is seeing the Vishwarupam, no?
Yes. This one.
He is seeing the Vishwarupam and he says Vishwarupam is Anantam,
Anantam.
endless.
Not able to describe it completely. It is infinite.
Infinite. Now, a form has a beginning and an end, isn't it? Are you able to
Yeah.
see me in
Yes.
the screen? You are, isn't it? You are able to capture me in a form because my form has a beginning and an end.
But divinity does not. Brahman.
Where reach a state where I don't fit into my kurta. My kurta I'm not able to fit means I've gone beyond the form. Then I must be like this, then I'll be walking like this. No, I am not become, I'm still able to fit into the form. Fit into the form, fit. Now, what I'm trying to get is this, the form has a beginning and an end. When he is describing Vishwarupam, he is describing it as endless, as formless. Are you all able to get it? This is where intellect starts reading it in between the lines, in between the words. He is describing a form and he says it's Anantam. How can a form be endless? A form has to have a beginning and an end. It has to be contained. But when he says it's formless, it is endless, means it is no form. And yet he's describing a form. Look at the contradiction. Are you all able to see the contradiction? Therefore, what does it mean? The divine form is endless. It is only a mental image of Arjuna. There is no reality of the Vishwarupa form there. It's only his imagination. Don't tell Maya. It's his imagination. He saw something. We'll not dismiss it as Maya, but it is his visualization of the Lord, of the grandness of the Lord. A form has to have a boundary. Vishwarupam had no boundary. It is endless, it is formless, means it is infinite. Vishwatomukham, again with face on all sides. Are? Vaishnavi, where is my face? Only front side, no? If my face is all side means what? Huh? What does face on all sides means what? Dragon. Adengappa. You are missing the real masala here. Again, her imagination. Face on all sides. Anything that is all pervading has no form. So, in the next few verses, you will see it more evidently that Vishwarupam, the Vishwarupa Darshana, is a subjective mental image rather than a form standing before Arjuna. Thungringla. Uttishta. Awake. Wake up to the reality. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavedyuga Paduthita Yadi Bha Sadrushi Sasyad. Bhasastasya Mahatmanaha Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavedyuga Paduthita Yadi Bha Sadrushi Sasyad Bhasastasya Mahatmanaha. Certainly tongue twister. I hope there's some philosophy in this verse. If 1,000 suns were to blaze forth together in the sky, that splendor would be the splendor of that exalted being. Avladhan. Straightforward, ஒண்ணுமே இல்லைங்க. இதுக்கு இவ்வளவு கஷ்டம் வருஷத்துக்கு சிம்பிளா போடலாமே. If 1,000 suns, so he's not able to fathom. 1,000 suns only resemble, not even equal, just resembling what could be that grandeur of the Vishwarupa. 1,000 suns, he says. That's the splendor of Vishwarupa. It is imperceptible. It is all together. If 1,000 suns were to rise, what will happen? My God. One sun itself we can't fathom. One sun we can't see. 1,000 suns, what will happen? Nothing will happen. Don't worry. Because no sun is going to come up. 1,000 suns is only imaginative. 13. No, I can't simply take time to explain when nothing is there. When something is there, I will spend 2-3 weeks in explaining the verse. If there's something there, we will dig it out. We will draw it out. When nothing is there, I don't want to waste my time and your time. Correct. Tatraikastham jagat kritsnam pravibhaktam anekadha apashya deva devasya sharire pandavastatha astada. Tatraikastham jagat kritsnam pravibhaktam anekadha apashya deva devasya sharire pandavastada. There Pandava saw the whole world with manifold divine resting in one, in that body of the God of gods. Now from the next few verses onwards, in fact from this verse onwards, I think from the 15th verse onwards, Arjuna will describe the cosmic form. Sanjaya is continuing. He says, there in the body of the God of gods, gods mean what do the gods mean? The God of gods means Supreme Brahman. But what do the gods mean? Devi and Devatas. Thank you. I did not know that. Now, what do they mean, Devi Devatas? Rajima, what does it mean?
Hari Om Guruji, can you hear me?
Very
Hari
clear.
Om. Hari Om.
For a moment, I also was wonderstruck because I have not heard this voice for 4-5 months.
Not 4. Guruji.
Like Arjuna got choked, I also got choked for a while.
7 weeks, Guruji, 7 weeks. I was. It's only 7 weeks, Guruji. It looks like 4 months though.
4-5 வருஷம் வருஷமா மாசமா சொல்லுங்க.
Does it mean the manifestation of Brahman?
Indeed, it's a manifestation, but what is the manifestation of Brahman?
Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh,
What are they?
Creator, protector, and destroyer.
Indeed, but what do they mean? What do they convey?
What do they convey?
They
I'm
are
unable.
the various powers in the world.
Correct.
The various powers in the world are manifestations of Brahman.
Yes, Guruji.
Like imagine a very powerful businessman, a tycoon. He has his hands on many facets, and his business is spread in many parts of the world. His presence is felt in many parts of the world. So you can find his presence. He leaves a mark wherever he has gone. In that sense, the greatness of Brahman, everything in the world is his manifestation. Whether be it the sun god, the sea god, or the wind god, or the earth, or anything is nothing but manifestation of Brahman. So when he says the God of gods, gods are the manifested powers of one God, which means Brahman. In the body of the God of gods means in Brahman. What did Pandava see? The whole world with manifold divisions resting in one. As we said, the 10th chapter gives the one in many, the 11th chapter gives many in one. Anekadha, in many ways, in multifold ways. Like one electricity has many manifestations. How do you describe electricity to an illiterate? Through the manifestations. Otherwise, it's difficult to explain what that source of power is, that light is. The source of light, you don't know. We can't explain. So you explain it through manifestation. Similarly, Brahman, the unknown Brahman, is explained through the known manifestations. We'll take one more verse. Tata savismaya vishtaha hrishtaro madhananjayaha pranamya shirasa devam kritanjali labhara bhashata. Tata savismaya vishtaha hrishtaro madhananjayaha pranamya shirasa devam kritanjalila bhashata. Then he, refer to Dhananjaya, struck with wonder. Vismaya vishtaha, struck with wonder, wonderstruck. Hrishtharomaha, with horripulating, with horripulations. Bowing down his head to the god, spoke with folded palms. In the dramatization, Vyasa is a great dramatist. He's just trying to help us visualize everything, what actually happened. That's a drama. A dramatist actually conveys that feel of that place, the actual insight we have, what's happening there. So, wonderstruck. Horripulating means hair stands on end, means he is just, my God, that kind of a feeling. He bows down with reverence, with joined palms. Namaskaram. A palm symbolizes the individual. One palm symbolizes the individual. The base of the palm symbolizes the Atman. The 5 fingers symbolizes the 5 koshas, the 5 sheets. So this symbolizes the individual. One palm is individual. The base of the palm is the Atman. The 5 sheets are the 5 fingers. 5 sheets are different in different individuals, but the Atman is the same. So when we bring both the palms together to symbolize that even though we are all appearing different, we are one and the same. To mean the Atman, the base of the palm is the same in you and me. Even though my 5 koshas are different to your koshas, your personality is different to mine, but the core of the personality is the same. To convey that, I put my both palms together to convey that we both are one. So when I salute you, I bow down to you by giving namaskar, it means to say you and I are one. How deeply meaningful. So I bow down to that unifying Atman. That's the symbolic representation. So he is awestruck, he is wonderstruck, he has no words to capture. So he has recovered, Arjuna has recovered, and from the next verse onwards, Arjuna will speak. These few verses Sanjay chipped in. Okay, right. Now there's a question Ramji is asking. Ramji, enna sir adu?
No, I was asking because I'm a bit confused about what Arjuna is seeing and what Sanjay is seeing. Because if we say that it is only perception and not a visualization, that means physically there is nothing in front of both of them. So what Arjuna is perceiving, so what Sanjay is describing is his own perception, or is he describing Arjuna's perception? How can he know Arjuna's perception? So he must be describing his own perception.
I need 1 week break to answer this question. It is beyond my capacity.
No, sir, I know, but please tell us next week, no problem.
Hariji wants to comment. Hariji has instant answers because he is Hari, no? He is a lot. So he will answer.
Sanjaya has got the capacity to see through anybody. He
Sorry,
has been Sanjay has got the third eye. So he has the capacity to see anybody through. So he is able to see even Arjuna.
So you're saying he is giving out Arjuna's perception because
Yes.
he can see Arjuna's perception. That's what
Yes.
you're saying.
Yes. He has been given that. He is able to see everybody.
Maybe, I don't know, but
That's what I understand.
okay.
That is his third eye. Sanjay has been given a special eye to see through everybody.
No, that
By
is the same
Vyasa.
thing that Vyasa has given. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Vyasa gave him Divya Drishti. Divya Drishti was
With
given
the-
to see the Vishwarupam, or was it given to see
No,
everybody?
he is able to see the whole war, and he is able to explain what is happening in the war field to Dhritarashtra. Not only seeing the Vishwarupam, he is briefing the whole happening in the war field to Dhritarashtra.
Correct.
So he has the capacity to see through what is happening in Arjuna. He knows, Sanjay already knows that Sri Krishna is
Sir, you know, for
everything.
It's actually Divya Darshan going on, because
Yeah.
you're somewhere, you're all saying something, and we are visualizing everything what you all are saying. It is darshan going on for us here. All of us
Yeah.
on screens. We want to have physical darshanam of you all someday. Setuji, yes sir.
Guruji. See, it is between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. So, Sanjaya, as rightly told by Hariji, it is he can see through Arjuna also. So he is since he is only reporting what it is there, what Arjuna is seeing, he is reporting through his.
I thought you were saying it's something between Krishna and Arjuna. What is Sanjaya doing in between? I thought you would say.
Sanjaya is an interpreter only.
Sanjaya coming in between. Yes, sir. I think you're right. Ramji, you clarified?
Yeah, if he has that power, I don't know. I didn't know that he has the power to. As far as I am concerned, Sanjay is a commentator. He is describing what is happening on the field. Okay. I didn't know that he had the capacity to actually go into the minds of people. So if that is also a power given to him by Vyasa, then it is a different thing. But so far in my life, I only thought that he is able to only describe what is happening in the field.
Sir, how does it matter what Sanjaya had? Is it going to make? Question is, do you have the eye or not is the question. We should to gain the eye ourselves. Whether Sanjaya had the eye or not, it is his problem. Let him deal with it.
No, I was only curious to know whether.
Has to gain the divine eye, sir.
That's okay. So it doesn't matter in the end because both are describing their own perceptions, right? And as long as the perceptions are matching, that it's fine.
They match. That's the thing. And to a large extent, Sanjaya is describing what Arjuna said. Not only here. When Arjuna asks a question, whom are we hearing from? The Gita starts with Sanjaya Uvacha, no?
Correct.
So even the entire conversation is with Sanjaya describing. So how would it be any different here? It's exactly he is able to see what Arjuna is able to perceive. So he obviously, as Hariji said, sitting in Hastinapur, he had the capacity to see the entire proceedings, including what Arjuna had got the divine eye. Since Vyasa had given that eye to him in a story wise, it also fits in. But ultimately, sir, it really doesn't change the course of our.
No, I understand that. I was only battling between this perception and visualization thing. So if it is a perception, then each person has a different perception. So that's why I was asking that, but it's okay. It doesn't matter really in the end.
After explaining, you can't say it doesn't matter. It very much matters. Ushama, no lunch for him today. My job is done. Hari Om.
Good, sir. You have done Narada's job, not Krishna's job. Yeah.
Job I have to do, sir. You're giving me the portfolio. Thank you, sir. Right. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.